Hey everyone, and welcome back. I'm always super excited to jump into these deep dives with you. Today we're going to be cracking the code of success.
Cracking the code, I like that.
Yeah, but not in the way you might think. You send in some fascinating material, and it's clear you're not just interested in what success looks like, but you want to know how to cultivate the thinking that actually leads to it.
Right, exactly. And what's really fascinating is that it really kind of puts you in the driver's seat.
Okay.
So instead of focusing on all these external factors that we can't control, it's really about mastering the internal game.
I like that, mastering the internal game. All right, well, the material you sent focuses on 8 key mindsets, so let's just jump right into it.
Okay.
First up is the growth mindset. This is something we hear a lot, but what does it actually mean in practical terms?
Well, think about it this way. Someone with a fixed mindset, right? They believe their abilities are set in stone.
Oh, okay.
I'm just not a math person.
Yeah.
I'm not creative. But a growth mindset completely flips the script. It says that your abilities are like muscles.
Okay.
The more you use them, the stronger they get.
The stronger they get. So it's not about where you start.
Right.
It's about believing that you can always improve. I like that.
Exactly.
Now, the material mentions reframing challenges as part of this mindset. Could you break that down for us?
Reframing is really just shifting your perspective. Like, let's say you hit a roadblock on a project.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of thinking, I'm stuck, I'm a failure, you ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What's one specific skill I can improve to handle this better next time?
Right. So it's turning that negative self-talk into a problem-solving opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
But, realistically, is it actually hard to stay positive when things are tough?
It takes practice.
Yeah.
And this is where the source material gets really interesting, right?
Yeah.
It suggests specific techniques for cultivating that growth mindset.
Yep.
So one of them is actually actively seeking out feedback, not just praise, but constructive criticism that can really help you identify areas for growth.
Okay, so it's about embracing those learning moments, even if they're a little uncomfortable sometimes.
Right, yeah.
All right. On to the next mindset, the positive mindset.
Yeah.
And honestly, when I first heard that, I thought this is going to be all about, toxic positivity, ignoring problems.
Oh, I know.
But I'm guessing it's a little more nuanced than that.
It is. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about approaching challenges with a solution-oriented perspective.
Okay.
Focusing on what you can control. And the source material really emphasizes the power of reframing negative thoughts.
So we talked about that with the growth mindset. How does it apply to a positive mindset?
Well, it's really about consciously choosing a more optimistic interpretation. So for instance, instead of thinking, this is impossible, you could ask, what's one small step I can take right now to move forward? It's a subtle shift, but it can completely change your whole emotional state.
It's like choosing to focus on the light at the end of the tunnel.
Right, yeah.
Even when you're in the middle of it.
Exactly.
The material also mentions practicing gratitude. How does that fit into the picture?
Well, gratitude is really powerful for cultivating positivity. It's about intentionally focusing on the good things in your life, whether they're big or small. And the research shows that even simple practices like writing down 3 things you're grateful for every single day can really make a huge impact on your overall outlook.
So it's not just about thinking positive. It's about training your brain
Yes.
to focus on the positive. Okay, that makes sense. Now let's talk about the resilient mindset. Life throws curveballs at all of us. So how can we actually become more resilient in the face of challenge?
Right. Well, resilience is the ability to really bounce back from adversity stronger than before.
Okay.
And, the source material uses the analogy of a rubber band.
Oh.
You can stretch it, you put pressure on it, but a resilient one, it snaps right back to its original shape.
Yeah.
And this isn't some kind of innate trait.
Yeah.
It's something that you can actually build over time.
So how do we build that mental muscle of resilience?
Well, one key strategy is developing healthy coping mechanisms for stress.
Oh, okay.
So this might involve things like mindfulness practices, exercise, spending time in nature, anything that can help you regulate your emotions and kind of stay grounded during those difficult times.
It's about having those go-to tools to help you weather the storm.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious about this next one, the entrepreneurial mindset.
Okay.
And, I'll be honest, the word entrepreneurial makes me think of starting a business, which is not something I'm personally interested in.
Right.
But I'm guessing this mindset applies to more than just starting a company.
Absolutely. While it is essential for entrepreneurs, it's valuable, honestly, in any field.
Okay.
It's about being proactive, seeing opportunities where other people might just see problems,
Okay.
and having that courage to take risks, but calculated risks.
So it's that go-getter spirit. It's that willingness to step outside your comfort zone and make things happen.
Yes, exactly.
Now, the source material mentions applying this mindset to, let's say you're working on a creative project.
Uh-huh.
An entrepreneurial mindset would encourage you to think outside the box,
Yeah.
maybe come up with new solutions.
Right, exactly. You don't have to wait for instructions. You can take ownership and come up with, innovative solutions.
Makes a lot of sense. So it's about thinking outside the box, being resourceful, not being afraid to take initiative, even if you're not running the whole show.
Hmm.
Now, onto a mindset that might not sound as exciting, but is absolutely crucial. The self-discipline mindset.
Yeah,
And I'll admit, I struggle with this one sometimes.
I think we all do.
It's so easy to just rely on motivation, but that can be so fleeting.
Motivation can be such a fickle friend.
It can.
And the source material really emphasizes the importance of moving beyond just relying on willpower.
Right.
And instead, focusing on building consistent habits and routines. It's where the magic happens.
So it's not about forcing yourself to do things that you hate.
Yeah.
It's about creating systems that make it easier to stick to your goals.
Right.
And I'm starting to see how all of these mindsets are interconnected.
They absolutely are, yeah.
They really are. And building on that idea of consistency, the next mindset we're going to explore is the abundance mindset.
Yeah.
This contrasts with the scarcity mindset, which I think a lot of us can relate to, especially in today's competitive world.
Right.
But before we dive into that, let's take a quick pause
Okay.
and see what's resonating with you so far. What's standing out to you from these first few mindsets?
Well, honestly, what's resonating the most with me is that these mindsets are not just about achieving some external measure of success.
Right.
They're about cultivating a way of thinking that empowers you to face any challenge, whether it's in your career, your personal life, or just navigating the ups and downs of daily life.
That's such a key insight.
Yeah.
These mindsets are tools for living a more fulfilling and meaningful life overall. And speaking of a fulfilling life, let's talk about that abundance mindset you mentioned earlier. It sounds a little woo-woo at first,
Right.
but I'm curious to hear how it plays into success.
Okay.
Well, the material contrasts it with the scarcity mindset,
Uh-huh.
which I think a lot of us can relate to,
Yes.
especially in today's competitive world.
She today.
It's that feeling that there's only so much to go around,
Yes.
whether it's opportunity, recognition, even just happiness.
Yeah, and that scarcity mindset can lead to comparison,
Yeah.
jealousy, a constant feeling of just not being enough.
Right.
It's like you're fighting for a piece of a very small pie.
Yeah.
But the abundance mindset flips the script. It says that pie is actually unlimited.
Okay.
There's enough success, happiness, opportunity for everyone.
So instead of seeing other people's wins as your losses, you can genuinely celebrate their success.
Yes.
Be inspired by them. That sounds great in theory, but isn't it hard to shift out of that scarcity mindset? Especially when we're constantly bombarded with these messages about competition and getting ahead.
It definitely takes conscious effort.
Okay.
But one thing the source material suggests is to focus on collaboration over competition.
Oh, okay.
Look for ways to support others, share your knowledge, and create win-win situations.
That makes sense. Shifting from a me versus them mentality to a we're all in this together approach.
Exactly.
Okay, onto a mindset that feels incredibly relevant in today's rapidly changing world. The adaptability mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the only constant is change these days.
You're telling me. And resisting that change is only going to create, stress and frustration.
Yeah.
The adaptability mindset is all about embracing change, seeing it as an opportunity for growth and innovation, being flexible, open to new ideas, and willing to learn and evolve constantly.
So how do we cultivate that adaptability? Does it mean that we have to be okay with everything changing all the time, even if it feels unsettling?
Not necessarily. It's more about having a willingness to adjust your sails when the wind changes direction.
Okay.
And the source material emphasizes the importance of continuous learning, staying updated on industry trends, being curious about new technologies, constantly expanding your skill set.
So it's not about being passive and just letting change happen to you.
Yeah.
It's about actively engaging with it and using it to your advantage.
That's right.
Okay, I like that. And this brings us to our final mindset for this part. The long-term vision mindset.
Yeah.
It seems like everything these days is about instant gratification.
Right.
So how do we cultivate that patience? How do
Yeah.
we focus on that long game?
That's a great point. I mean, we live in a world of, instant downloads, next day delivery, quick fixes.
Yeah.
But true, lasting success, it rarely happens overnight. The long-term vision mindset is about having that clear picture of where you want to be in the future,
Okay.
and then taking consistent action towards that goal, even when progress feels slow.
It's like running a marathon.
Exactly.
You don't focus on just the next mile marker. You keep your eyes on that finish line. But how do you stay motivated when that finish line seems so far away?
Well, the source material suggests breaking down those long-term goals into smaller, more manageable milestones.
Okay.
Celebrating those smaller wins along the way can really help you stay motivated and build momentum.
So it's about finding that balance between having that big, audacious vision and breaking it down into actionable steps.
Right.
That's really helpful. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. 8 powerful mindsets for success.
Yes.
But, I'm wondering, how do they all work together?
Uh-huh.
Is it about picking and choosing the ones that resonate most, or is there a synergy between them?
It feels like they're all pieces of the same puzzle.
Yeah.
You can't really have a growth mindset without resilience.
Right.
You can't pursue a long-term vision without self-discipline.
Right.
They're all interconnected and mutually reinforcing.
It's like, think of it this way. A growth mindset fuels your adaptability because you're open to learning and evolving.
Yes.
A positive mindset enhances your resilience because you can see the good even in tough situations.
Right.
And self-discipline gives you the power to act on those long-term visions,
Yeah.
even when the motivation fades.
Exactly.
So it's not just about having one strong tree. It's about cultivating a whole forest of supportive mindsets.
I love that. A forest of supportive mindsets.
This has been such an insightful conversation. But before we wrap up this first part, I want to make sure we give our listeners some concrete takeaways.
Right.
The source material doesn't just tell us what these mindsets are. It gives us practical tips on how to actually develop them.
Right.
So what are some of the strategies that stand out to you?
Well, one that really resonated with me is the idea of surrounding yourself with the right people.
Oh, yeah.
If you're constantly around people with fixed mindsets who just complain and focus on the limitations, it's going to be a lot harder to cultivate a growth mindset. Right. Seek out people who inspire you, who challenge you to think bigger, and who really support your journey.
That's so true. Your environment has such a huge impact on your mindset.
Yeah.
The material also talks about the importance of celebrating small wins.
Yes.
It's easy to get caught up in striving for that big goal, but recognizing those smaller milestones along the way, it can really boost your motivation.
It does.
And it can really reinforce those positive mindsets.
It does, yeah.
Absolutely. And don't underestimate the power of self-reflection.
Right.
Take time to journal, meditate, just think about your experiences
Yeah.
and how they're shaping your mindset.
Exactly.
The more self-aware you become, the more intentional you can be about cultivating the mindsets that serve you best.
I completely agree.
This has been incredibly inspiring and such a great reminder that success isn't some elusive destination. It's an ongoing journey. And these mindsets are like a compass that can guide us along the way.
I couldn't agree more. And the most exciting part is that this is a journey that we can all embark on regardless of our background, regardless of our circumstances.
Absolutely.
These mindsets, they're not fixed traits. They can be learned, they can be practiced, they can be strengthened over time.
So to our listener, I hope this first part has sparked a fire in you, a desire to take ownership of your mindset and really create the life you want. Remember, success is not just about talent or luck.
Right.
It's about the choices you make and the thoughts you cultivate.
And as you start to integrate these mindsets into your life, remember to be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
It's a journey. It's not a race. Celebrate your progress, learn from those setbacks, and just never stop exploring the incredible power of your own mind.
Beautifully said. All right, everyone. Until next time, stay tuned for the second part of this deep dive. We'll pick up right where we left off. And as always, we'll be here to support you every step of the way.
So where were we? Ah, yes, the abundance mindset.
Yeah, the abundance mindset. So you were saying that it contrasts with the scarcity mindset.
Right, exactly. Which can really, hold us back.
Oh, for sure. I think it's easy to fall into that trap, especially these days. Like there's this feeling of, limited resources, limited opportunities.
Yeah, that there's only so much to go around.
And it can get pretty competitive.
Absolutely. And that kind of thinking, that scarcity mindset, it can lead to, well, all sorts of negativity, comparison, jealousy,